Trump ends China's monopoly on rare earths as Pentagon rapidly pushes for domestic mining and processing, invoking the 1950 Defense Production Act. Hello, this is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government, dailytorch.com. Hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be talking about rare earth minerals and metals. China's had a pretty good monopoly on this stuff, and the United States in recent years just hasn't been producing enough. These are minerals and metals that are used in defense systems, hardware, computers, smartphones, and other high-tech equipment. And we have to import pretty much all of it, either by importing finished goods or bringing in the materials for manufacturing purposes. But now, under the Trump administration, this is beginning to change. The Department of Defense in June started asking for proposals from miners to rapidly expand both mining and production and processing here in the United States. And this is from Reuters. The Pentagon is rapidly assessing the United States rare earths capability in a race to secure stable supply of the specialized material amid the country's trade conflict with China, which controls the rare earths industry, according to government documents seen by Reuters. The push comes after weeks after China threatened to curb exports of rare earths. The Pentagon wants miners to describe plans to develop U.S. rare earths mines and processing facilities, and asks manufacturers to detail their needs for the minerals, and that was in June 27. The responses were due by July 31. That's come and gone, and now the proposals have presumably been submitted. They issued this request under the authority of the 1950 Defense Production Act. President Donald Trump, on July 22nd, issued a memorandum pursuant to Section 303 of the Defense Production Act that declares these rare earth metals to be essential to national security. The proclamation said, quote, "The domestic production capability of samarium, cobalt, rare earth, permanent magnets is essential to the national defense. Without presidential action under Section 303 of the Act, the United States industry cannot reasonably be expected to provide the production capability for samarium, cobalt, rare earth, permanent magnets adequately and in a timely manner." The proclamation added, quote, "Further, purchase commitments, or other action pursuant to Section 303 of the Act are the most cost-effective, expedient, and practical alternative method for meeting the need of this critical capability. Now, by invoking the law, the Department of Defense can go ahead and fund directly the construction of rare earth processing facilities in the United States and expand mining operations as needed by working with private contractors." Now, the United States consumes about 9,500 metric tons of rare earths in 2018, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. We're 100% dependent upon rare earths. That's, again, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Quote, "The estimated value of rare earths, compounds, and metals imported by the United States in 2018 was $160 million, an increase from $137 million in 2017. But again, these numbers do not take into account rare earths that are used in manufacturing in China or other countries and then exported to the United States. Now, Trump has recently delayed a 10% tariff on that remaining $300 billion of goods. That includes the high-tech goods from China until December. There would be a 10% tariff there. So that may be to buy enough time to have the United States ramp up production here. Now, the good news is that despite being in a commanding position, China in recent years has been losing global market share. So back in 2010, they were producing 95% of global production of rare earths. But that's down to 80% global market share now. And that's largely because Australia has been ramping up production. You can see Australia has a pretty decent amount of reserves. And so does the United States at 1.4 million metric tons here. And the Australians have 3.4 million metric tons. And China has a really the largest supply at 44 million metric tons of reserves. And in terms of production, the United States just began ramping up production again with 15,000 metric tons from the formerly Moly Corp, MP Materials now. We're starting to produce there again, up in California, San Bernardino County. And according to MP Materials, they are going to reopen the mothball processing facilities at Mountain Pass facility next year, that's in 2020, so that the mine can extract rare earth metals at home. Now, that's a part of the proposal that the Pentagon, they want to do that, and so presumably the Mountain Pass facility would be a prime candidate for participation in this U.S. Defense Department program to increase production here. Now, into the mix, this is according to the Wall Street Journal last year, Japan has hundreds of years worth of rare earth metal deposits in its waters, according to new research that reflects Tokyo's concern about China's hegemony over minerals used in batteries and electric vehicles. The deposits were found in the Pacific Ocean seabed near remote Minamotori Island, about 1,150 miles southeast of Tokyo, with research in hopes of getting more control over next-generation technologies and weapon systems. It's a 965 square mile seabed near the island, contains more than 16 million tons of the rare earth oxides. That includes an estimated 780 years worth of global supply of yttrium, 620 years worth of europium, 420 years worth of terbium, and 730 years worth of dysprosium, according to a study published this week in Nature Publishing Group's Scientific Reports. So this is great news because it means that even as we're slowly ramping up production in California and elsewhere in the United States, there are other opportunities in Australia and also in Japan, off the coast of Japan and the Pacific Ocean, to mine more of these rare earth minerals. And so that means that China's monopoly on these minerals is basically ending. And unlike George W. Bush and Barack Obama, who allowed domestic production to disappear, President Trump takes the threat seriously, with the newly sought domestic rare earths being promoted by the Pentagon. And so I think we got to give credit where credit is due here. President Trump is taking this threat seriously. And this is an essential part of national security and defense manufacturing. We need these rare earth minerals and metals to build the next generation of military technology that's going to keep the United States safe. And we can't allow an adversary like China to have a monopoly on that. And so it's about time that a president is acting. And so you got to give credit to President Trump. He's doing it. And I'll leave you with the close here. China's monopoly on rare earth mineral production is coming to an end as its market share continues to plummet going forward. Just one less thing Beijing can hold over U.S. trade negotiators' heads, and it surely strengthens the U.S. position in those talks. China had placed a tariff on rare earths that were being shipped there for processing. So while the California facility is still getting its production up and running, it has been exporting rare earths to China for processing, and they've said they'll get their processing facility up and running by 2020. But now Beijing was never going to permanently be allowed to have a monopoly on the elements essential to national security, and the American people can thank President Trump for that. That's the commentary. This is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government, dailytorch.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and have a good day.